Well, hey, howdy, hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by to join me today. I really do appreciate it. My name is Ellie, and I'm a witch, and this over here is my teaching assistant, Auntie, and today is Sunday, and on my channel that means it is Legends and Lore. And this is the first episode of the newly named Legends and Lore, which was originally Cryptid Countdown, and today I'll be talking about the cryptids of Utah. And today's video is going to be a little bit shorter of a video, so I'm going to try not to ramble too much, so let's just go ahead and jump into the video. Alright, so the first cryptid on the list today is going to be the Bear Lakes Monster. Now, it is called the Bear Lakes Monster as it inhabits Bear Lake. The stories date back to Native American legend. In 1868, an article was published in the Deseret News that said, quote, "The Indians have a tradition concerning a strange serpent-like creature inhabiting the waters of Bear Lake." Now, it seems that this water devil, as the Indians called it, has again made an appearance, end quote. Now, after this article was published, the Salt Lake City residents began to talk, and you wouldn't find a single person who had any doubts about this legendary creature. Several LDS church leaders took an interest in the legend and would go do preaching tours in the area. The Salt Lake Tribune stated the creature was, quote, "twin brother to the devil and cousin to Brigham Young," end quote. The first written description of the creature comes from a letter written in 1874. Now, it was said to be 5 to 6 feet long, quote, "its face and part of its head were directly seen, covered in fur or short hair of a light-colored snuff. The face of the animal was apparently flat, very wide between the eyes and tapering to the nose, with very full, large blue eyes and prominent ears, the ears resembling those of a horse, but scarcely as long. The whole face and shape was like that of a fox, but so large that the space between the eyes equaled the distance between the eyes of a common cow," end quote. The number of alleged sightings quickly began to grow, and LDS President Brigham Young was keen to investigate. It was speculated that the waterways that connected Bear Lake out of Utah allowed the creature to come and go as it pleased. Brigham Young at one point sent large ropes to Paris, Idaho to aid in the capture of the creature. Another notable attempt to capture the creature was made by an unnamed resident. Now, he proposed using large hooks to attach to a 20-foot cable, and that was tethered to a 1-inch rope that was about 300 yards long. His hope was to capture the creature and create his own show that could directly rival that of P.T. Barnum. Eventually, some of the church leaders that had perpetuated the legends admitted they believed it to be a lie, and they were only trying to contribute to the lie. However, the sightings still rolled in long after this admittance was made. The most recent sighting was in 2002. So the second creature in this video is the one that we have seen in all of my videos, and for Utah is called the Wasatch Wild Man. Now, the general depiction of an 8-foot tall bipedal hairy creature remains the same. I was unable to find any specific quotes about fur colors, so I assume it's the same dark brown that most Bigfoot creatures tend to be. The sightings actually increased during the COVID lockdowns, according to Utah State University. In total, there are currently 72 officially recorded sightings of the Wasatch Wild Man in Utah, according to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization's website. The reports include hearing knocking sounds, having rocks thrown at people, and some shaky camera recordings from afar of presumed wild man creatures. There is not much more information on the creature or anything special to note from or about this Utah version of the creature. Next is the Great Salt Lake Whales. I will be the first to say that this is not a cryptid that I believe in. However, I am not here to tell you what to or not to believe in, so I will tell you this whale tale as best I can. In 1875, British scientist James Wickham had theorized that whales could survive in the Great Salt Lake. He began to put this theory to the test himself. The whales he chose for the experiment were 2 juvenile blue whales. They had beached themselves on the East Australian coast, which made their capture significantly easier. Now, both whales were about 35 feet long and were shipped to Utah in a specialized rail car that was built to hold them and 50 tanks of ocean water. Now, the whales were initially placed in a small bay that had been fenced off. However, it took the whales just a few minutes to get through the barrier and they headed to open waters. It is said that there are whale sightings to this very day, most people assuming the whales to reside in the deepest part of the lake, far from shore. Now, the pictures that I've shown, often thought to be from Wickham's work, are actually the work of 2 artists, Christine Baxwick and David Himes. Using the story of the Salt Lake whales, they used a combination of old and new photography techniques to create both pictures. This specific piece was called Whale of a Tale, and is just one of their pieces that they hope to bring light to historical events and people that may have been forgotten about. So while the pictures may not be real, many do still believe the story and hope that maybe one day they too can catch a glimpse of the famed blue whales in the Great Salt Lake. Our next cryptid is one that's actually known by two different names. It is the North Shore Monster, or Old Briny. This is another creature thought to reside in the Great Salt Lake. The first report of this creature came in 1840 of a monster with a dolphin-like body. The next report was in 1877 by J.H. McNeil, as well as several other employees of a saltworks company. This sighting was in the early evening, but the employees said that they saw a huge creature with a crocodile-like body and the head of a horse. The creature reportedly made a bellowing noise and even charged at the workers. Some people believe the second sighting may have been a buffalo and was mistaken given the low lighting. Others are skeptical in general that anything could live in the Great Salt Lake. It has a higher salinity than the ocean, meaning nothing freshwater could live in it, and even the survival rate of saltwater critters would be dependent on animal, as they also have a certain tolerance of salt to water ratio. This is also not taking into account that while the Great Salt Lake does cover 3,300 square miles, which is about 5,310 kilometers, the deepest part of the lake measures only 33 feet, which is about 10 meters. The last cryptid that I have for you is going to be water babies. Now, I briefly touched on water babies when I spoke about the sirens in Yellowstone and Wyoming. They are prevalent in Utah, though. The belief in what they are, or what they do, what they want, varies from tribe to tribe. So I'll be pulling from several different tribal beliefs to tell you about water babies. So the Washoe people believe in them to be a powerful water spirit, capable of causing harm or death to humans. If they need to go into water baby territory, they give an offering of corn, bread, or pine nuts. Paiute people believe them to be a mysterious and dangerous creature, known to mimic the sounds of a crying baby to lure its victims to drown them. They acknowledge they are powerful spirits and believe them to be connected to waterways as well as volcanic areas. Now, the Ute people depict the water babies as small creatures with long black hair and having the ability to mimic infant cries. They also think that they use these cries to lure in their victims, but when drowned, the Ute people believe the victims become water babies themselves. The legend has been changed as the story spread from the tribes to non-native people. The water babies are now known as water kelpies, or as sirens, or simply merfolk. Stories in Utah are in several areas, but predominantly Utah Lake, though the legends do span over several states with different large bodies of water. Now, some honorable mentions that are included in a lot of lists of Utah cryptids, but truly had no information about them that I could find, would be dire wolves, werewolves, though I do think that one's a joke because this is all that I could find about them. Now, honorable mentions that I just chose not to talk about. There is Old Ephraim, which it really seems most people have concluded is a story rather than a creature, which is why I didn't include it. And then skinwalkers, which are extremely prevalent in Utah. I just have no desire to talk about them ever again. Thank you. And that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for stopping by to join me. This one was a fun one. I'm not sure what was up with Utah, but I just couldn't find that many cryptids to start with, but also just not a lot of information about any of them. Like I said, the honorable mentions, werewolves, I thought that was going to be super, super cool, and then it's kind of a joke. And then the dire wolves, I couldn't really find anything about them in Utah specifically. I found one incident in Montana, but other than that, it's just they exist there supposedly. If you did want to know about skinwalkers though, I included them in my video of Arizona and I would never like to talk about them again, so I'll probably just do an honorable mentions if I talk about anywhere else that has skinwalkers. But yeah, that was today's video. Tomorrow I'll be talking about the 3 defenestrations of Prague, and on Tuesday I'll be talking about Brian Schuckman. Aside from my normal content, I am going to be doing a Halloween series pretty soon. It's going to start on the 19th, and it's more Halloween based in like creature lore. It is mainly true crime cases. I have one that is not true crime, and that's going to be one misheard history, and you're going to get 2 additional misheard histories the week of Halloween, so that'll be really fun, but those are not part of the series. But for that series, it's going to be 13 days, of course, of me talking about true crime and misheard history. It's just going to be right in a row, starting on the 19th, ending on the 31st. For the series, I'm going to be dressed up in costume, Andy will be dressed up in costume, and we're just going to chat a little bit more generally. I do personally feel a little bit weird about getting dressed up when I'm talking about true crime cases because these are people's lives. I feel less weird when I'm doing not cryptid countdown, legends and lore, and misheard history. Those can be a little bit more serious, but in general they're not. However, for the Halloween series, I wanted to do something different, and so that's what I'm gonna do. I am still gonna talk about everything seriously, but I do want to do the traditional Halloween and do costumes. along with true crime, Halloween series, makeup, costumes for us. I'm also going to be doing 13 different cocktails, one for each video. When I do them, the recipe will be up on screen if you'd like to make them. I will also give a little rating probably at the end of the video, maybe at the beginning if I'm doing a shot. But yeah, if you just want to follow along with that, or if you want to recommend any cocktails before then or during that series, because mine got really boring and it just feels like the same stuff over and over, but we're gonna try to have fun with it. Anyways, that is all that I have for you today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.